3 weeks, haven't seen another soul in this wasteland. Nothing but dust and dirt. Blast.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to another custom diecast video. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at my Plague Doctor Buggy. This is a build I did for the Gaslands UK Car of the Month competition last November. I ended up winning first place, so I made a custom card for it, and this is what it looks like now. I put 1 out of 35 for the number of entries and 11 out of 12 for the month of November. There's a Gaslands UK logo and my logo where a treasure hunt would have a flame symbol. I had to take the plastic bubble from a larger Hot Wheels car. I think it was a premium Bronco, and it still doesn't really fit width-wise. Anyway, let me show you how I made it. I started with these two castings, the Rip Rod and the Hypermite, which doesn't get used a lot, but I like the rear fenders and the engine. So I started by chopping up the Hypermite and setting it up with some off-road tires I grabbed from a Tomica four-wheeler. You can see here how well things fit and the engine looks great. Next, I started to see how I could fit the Rip Rod body onto the front. I didn't end up using those front wheels, and I opted for the same as the rear wheels in the end. As you can see, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to keep, and what was not getting used at this point. So I had the idea of the plague mask, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. And some of these work-in-progress pictures are pretty comical looking at them now. That's a good thing to remember when building, is that you may not love it every step of the way, but if you keep trying a bunch of different ideas, you'll work it out by the end. So here's what I finally settled on for the mask. This is a template for a wearable foam Plague Doctor mask that I scaled down to 12.5% and just printed it out on regular printer paper. I got this pattern from a crafter called SKS Props, and I'll put a link to it in the video description down below. So I bent the mask in the shape and position that I wanted, and I saturated the paper with super glue, rubbing the surface with some baking soda to cure the glue and give it a nice texture. And working with paper bits this small was pretty hard for me, and I ended up with that gap right in the middle there. But I like how it turned out. So I continued by filling in the gaps here and there with some bits of plastic and some sanding mesh. And since this challenge was to build a buggy, I thought I should build a prominent suspension for the front wheels. So I used various pieces of scrap and trash to make these struts and shocks, which fit on the front like this. And then it was time for primer and base coats. I knew I wanted to do purple, but I actually was shocked myself when it came out this bright. I've never used purple before, and I was actually worried about it being too extreme. And I ended up posting a work-in-progress thread on Facebook to get some second opinions. And here's all the parts in sub-assemblies. Always paint in sub-assemblies. I learned that pretty early on, and it was a game changer for me. Here you can see the effect I was able to get on the paper mask, and it looks like beaten metal. There's actually a figure inside, but you can't tell in the end. But he is there, I promise. So with all of the base coating done, I didn't like it. And that's usually the case, even now with the cars I build. It always all comes together after weathering. Let's take a closer look at how it turned out. And I'll stop talking and leave you with some finished close-up pictures. Thank you for watching and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you on the next build.